This episode of United 96 is brought to you in part by Mundy Development. Whether you're beginning your first real estate purchase or you're a seasoned investor, Mundy Development can assist you with all aspects of the process. Kick off your next investment by visiting mundydev.com. You are now listening to United 96 Podcast on the RFK Refugees Podcast Network.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to United 96 here on the RFK Refugees Podcast Network. Ted here, John here, finally back with you here to talk DC United, MLS, and I know there's some big U.S. men's national team news. My response is let's listen to some other podcasts if you want to hear about it. I don't.
There are going to be some good ones that are not us talking about it.
They'll have tactical breakdowns and everything. Apparently, Jesse Marshall might be is rumored to be the new coach. Hopefully, that's the same by the time the thing comes out. But you want to hear on that show because why? Because we got a lot of DC United coverage to get into. Before we get into that, John, it's been a while, man. How's your week?
It has been. I've been working. I've been busy. I've been a busy bee, doing my annual hill flying for where I work. So I've been doing that up in DC, and I was, I got home last night. I was delighted to find a full slate of MLS games. I was confused that was happening. I don't know why. Is there a reason why, or did they just decided that this was the week of two? This was the week of two match days.
Apparently, I guess that's what they decided because not only was MLS doing a full slate of Wednesday night games, USL was doing a full slate of Wednesday night games. The Kickers played in a game I won't discuss on this podcast because it was not good. But yeah, apparently, I guess they've got certain windows that they're trying to do on Wednesday, and I guess this was the first one up. So
you know why, Ted?
Why?
It's because it's my birthday tomorrow. So it was a present to me to give me two DC United games this week, or three, I guess, actually, right? Well, if you count it like an 8-day week, there's three. So lots.
Yeah, you got basically what do you have Saturday? Well, you had the Open Cup, then you had Saturday against Nashville. Yeah, they've been packing the games in for DC. I feel like we haven't gotten. This is like the weird part of the schedule where it's like we feel like there's like a game suddenly every couple of days, so we don't have time to even think about.
And it was the longest period between shows in like recorded history that wasn't due to injury or intentional. So that's how that goes sometimes.
Yeah. So because of that, because of the break and the amount of games we have, we've got a lot to get through. I think we're gonna. But first,
I want to thank our new Patreons.
Yes, go ahead.
Because I am to do that. Jason and Terry, thank you for joining the Patreon. This week, I'm not really sure about how I'm going to do a second episode because it's going to come out on Friday, and the normal episode is on Friday. So maybe listen, Patreons who want a second episode, just text me and I'll talk to you about soccer for 5 minutes. I'll give my phone number out to our select patrons. But anyway, Terry, Jason, thank you. And if you want to get involved and normally get us a second show a week, patreon.com/RFK Refugees. Now, hit it, Ted.
Yeah, and more to come with more to come. I think we're finding out what you guys like as far as what you guys want out of the Patreon, and that second show has really helped. I think get some get some of you on. So we want to continue to deliver content like that for you all.
It's the RFK sickos that like the second episode.
Yeah, so more content. We're definitely planning some more content. I am currently awaiting a better living situation, and I will be contributing to some of the content. So stay tuned for that. But I think we're gonna have sort of a exponential growth of the amount of discussion we're gonna have on games for these three games we have to cover. We're gonna start with DC United versus the Red Bulls in the Open Cup, which was a bad game, terrible, awful, all the things that you can say about it. Bad field over at the State College. I think Wayne Rooney summed it up in saying, first of all, he was surprised about the bidding, and I think we've talked about that, I think, at length.
He saw your tweet. That's what happened. He saw your tweet, got confused, thought they could have bid for it, and then he got mad. That's what happened.
Yeah, everybody got mad, and I think it's one of those unfortunate situations based on the schedule. I have learned that it's probably DC did know when the dates were well ahead, so maybe bad on them for not keeping that date free. I also think, U.S. Soccer, in my opinion, I think it's a little silly that U.S. Soccer forces teams to have both dates open. I think there's a lot of things about how they handled the bidding process is a little silly. I think it's silly that the Red Bulls were allowed to get away with just shipping this off to like a state college on a turf field. I mean, kudos to them. I guess it played to their advantage because Wayne Rooney was like, "There's no way I'm risking, my best players on this field. So I'm going to send, basically the bare minimum that I can."
How do you feel if you're one of those players that plays that game after Wayne's like, listen, this field is basically some hypodermic needles and like fire, and I'm not going to put any good players in the field, but we did play and we lost. How would you feel if you're like, hey, let's throw these guys out?
I don't know if I would care because if I'm playing in this game, it also means it's an opportunity or
Sure.
It's a chance to show. So, I mean, clearly it hasn't impacted morale, I guess, across the board. I mean, I think that was maybe a concern amongst some fans was that, the how bad this game looked, would impact impact morale sort of across the board. So it appears it has not done that. But I mean, I think it does look a little silly when and I think some people have pointed out that you didn't want to risk injury on this field. And then one of your designated players pulls up with a hamstring injury, literally in the next game after he is rested for said game. Yeah,
on that good grass, on that good freshly
relayed turf, by the way,
right?
brand new surface relayed at Audi Field. So I don't know if we really want to get too much of this game. It was a bad game, awful. It 1-0 loss. They're out of the Open Cup. Probably, I think a lot of people have, like myself, and we've all talked about, here's an opportunity to win a trophy. They clearly passed up on that opportunity. It is what it is, and thankfully, we've got some better games to talk about and more productive games to talk about. Anything else you want to touch on to the Open Cup before we?
2 years, 1-0 loss away to Red Bulls in a row in the Open Cup. I think we have to do your best to avoid them in the draw next year. And also make sure you're bidding to play home games, just so we can break the juju of the same thing happening every time. But yeah, it's the game was not good. It was not enjoyable to watch. Eric Hurtado was not enjoyable to watch. The whole thing was bad. We could just move on and never talk about it again.
Yeah, but it never happened. Like Don Garber clearly wants us to do. We listen to Don Garber on that front. That we pretend the Open Cup doesn't exist.
Easy. Done.
Easy, done. All right, so let's get into it. We head into the next week. DC United playing against Nashville. A start of a 3-game stretch where they've already played sort of Nashville and Philly on the road, and now they'll finish the week off against the lowly LA Galaxy at home. So a huge stretch of games, and I think we already saw, at the very least, sort of a sense that I think from Wayne Rooney about what games he thought he could rest players and taking maybe a little bit of a gamble. And I'd say that this Nashville game at home against a tough Nashville team was certainly a roll of the dice. And I think he probably thought, here's a game where I think, we're at home. I'm maybe going to take the risk. I'm going to rest Christian Benteke for 90 minutes, and we're going to rely on Taxi Funtas. So it was a gamble. Don't think it really paid off. Taxi Funtas, of course, coming up in the second half with an injury. Sort of a weird position. The only thing that stuck about this game was sort of the weird role. Like Chris Durkin has basically just become just this utility man for DC. It's either like right wing, right midfield in a 4-4-2/4-4-3-3, and then also then now playing as a second striker behind Taxi Funtas.
You know who this reminds me of?
Who's that?
He's the white Ulysses Segura.
Basically,
he's got 3 positions. Yeah. Also, just to clarifying, Taxi didn't go down in the second half. He went down in the 23rd minute of the game. So
another minute. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so early. So he didn't last, and also he came back on the field. So it didn't. You always wonder, sort of. Obviously, this is a player who has been nursing that injury all year long. He started late because of it. He was down injured, hamstring again, same hamstring. You always wonder when it's an early injury like that, how close to the line they were when they cleared him. Like he went through training all week. Was he pushing it really hard? He was K-taped to the wazoo. He had cupping marks on the front of his leg. So that leg is banged up. I would bet you that they're going to let him rest it as long as possible so that he can actually come back fully healthy instead of trying to start him again. Because what we're seeing is this team has now figured out how they're going to work defensively so that they can really stop even good teams from doing what they want to do. The tactics that have been put in place have now matured to the fact to the place where we may not be able to generate a bunch of effective scoring chances at will with the players that we have right now, but we can certainly disrupt any style of attacking play with the players that we have, which is, you got to give Wayne something. And he saw the beginning of the season where we conceded like 10 goals in 3 games. And he said, no more of that. We're going to stop that. Let's fix it. Let's change the formation. So
yeah, I haven't really looked at the numbers. I guess I could probably pull them up, but then you'd hear my clicky clacky keyboard, so I won't do that. But I mean,
it's the ASMR element of our podcast.
I mean, but you do talk about the sort of he's talked about at length about this team being difficult to play against, and against this tough Nashville team. I think I was in the Discord chat, and I was looking at some of the predictions that were coming in, and just the wildness of like 4-0 Nashville, 3-0 Nashville, and I said that's not what this game is going to be. This game is going to be a close, tight affair because Nashville are a great team defensively. They are an okay team attacking wise,
and they have no number 9.
And they are fully 100% reliant on Hani Mukhtar to create chances, to create opportunities, to create goals. And, when you were able to effectively shut that down, they basically kind of really have nothing to really challenge you. They generated some chances, but again, both teams, I think, were struggling for chances. DC looked pretty good for 23 minutes when Taxi Fundas was out there. I think they were generating probably the best chances. I think he had at least one opportunity. But for the most part, I mean, no team. And then when he went down, it was Eric Hurtado, and there really wasn't much chance creation at all. No team was doing a good job at chance creation, particularly DC. I think Chris Durkin with the lone opportunity, the lone shot that hit off the crossbar. But other than that,
he pile drive the shit out of and almost knocked the goalposts over.
Yeah, imagine if that had gone in, that would have been incredible.
Yeah, is his name Bruce Murray? Is that the guy's name?
Yes.
He was losing his mind. He was like, he just hit it so hard. He's like, I know he did. He really did. It's true.
Yeah. So unfortunate. I think it's hard. It's definitely shows. Obviously Benteke not being in that game was the real story, and really, I mean, we'll get to the Philly game. I mean, I think this game as a whole really exemplified just how much having Benteke out on that field really impacts things. Particularly, I mean, when you lose Taxi, it's big, but also just from a pure hold up and just being able to cycle the ball out wide. We'll get to the Philly game and just certain moments in that game where he just showed really unbelievable quality, but despite not scoring the goal.
I want to talk about Gasu Sumake.
Yeah, go ahead.
Boy. In the Nashville game, he looked very poor to me. He was where the attack went to die on the left side. He had a number of early fouls that caused dangerous free kicks that could have been potential goals, particularly when Nashville was not generating real chances. It was going to come off something like that, and their goal came off something stupid. So really conceding in dangerous spots would have been and should have been avoided. He is getting a lot of run, which tells you, I think, a couple things. Left back depth continues, left wing back or whatever back continues to be a depth problem with Pedro Santos, and Jahazi still doing whatever he's doing.
Yeah,
still suspended. And Jacob Green, I think, maybe got a little bit run down. He had a very long run on the side, and I don't think anybody expected that. And Wayne talked over and over again at the beginning of the season about not running young players into the ground. So I think that this is a kind of rotation that's going on. And we're going to talk about the game on Wednesday against Philly in a little bit. But I would say that he started off in this game pretty poor. I would say of the players that started, he was the worst out there on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I think he showed some promise defensively. I don't think
he's fast.
Yeah,
he was fast. That is verified.
Yeah, so he's able to cut it. He's able to. He's certainly able to break up plays when he's playing on that wide side. He's struggling, and you could see it still in the Philly game. The sort of the higher level mindset, I guess, of being a high level professional player is not there. We talk about the goal, and let's go ahead and talk about the goal because it was a strange and just one of those. I we'll talk about maybe who deserves blame, but I think one player that certainly deserves blame on that goal is Samake, because he is sitting out there sort of on the near post, kind of deer in headlights, trying to figure out what to do. There was just a crazy sequence, a great save from Tyler Miller. And Tyler Miller is literally having to yell at him, get out there, close that down. You cannot let him have that space. I forget, I think it was Fafa or somebody. I forget who had the space. And, that he doesn't move quick enough. They're able to get sort of a free cross in back into the mixer. It falls for Donovan Pines. I've debated on who I think Donovan Pines, we talked about him, cleaning up a lot of his game. Does he maybe deserve some blame for this? Possibly. But I also think that, it's also a bit more of an unfortunate play. And also I think maybe Tyler Miller deserves some blame, because I think what you can see happen on this play is the ball sort of falls down and everybody just kind of stops. And I think even Alex Mule, out there expected Tyler Miller to just come up and grab it. I think there's sort of a bit of a miscommunication between Miller and Pines. And I think Miller needs to be the one to sort of jump on that. Forget about your defender. Just grab the ball off his feet. Who cares at this point? He's kind of holding it, kind of waiting. Maybe he thought maybe he'd be called for something. Maybe there would be some error. And I think Miller slowed to react. Donovan Pines then sees Mule sort of crashing in. He just says, all right, I'm just going to hoof it. Clears it. It goes off of, if it's an inch higher, it's handling and it's no goal, even if it goes into the back of the net. But it goes right off the underside of his armpit, which, according as angry as I was at the time, according to the laws of the game, is perfectly valid. And that is it literally outlined in IFAB's laws about handling. So a weird sort of unfortunate goal, probably the type of goal that deserved this game. And I thought right at the bat, I said, that's it. This is exactly the game I said that was going to happen. It was going to be 1-0 either way. It was going to be either 1-0 DC or 1-0 Nashville or 0-0. It could have honestly been that as well. But I did not feel this was a more than one goal type of game. I'm happy to be wrong, and we'll get into that in a minute. But I mean, really, it really sort of felt like this team maybe would have been happy with the 0-0 draw. I don't know if they would get them to admit that, but that's kind of what this sort of lineup and sort of the formation felt like a little bit.
When you saw Benteke was not playing, that is what you felt. That is what I felt when I saw it. I was like, listen, if we can hold on for 0-0, I'm dancing. Mm-hmm. I am dancing. And, it almost was going to be forced to that. The fact that we were able to change that scoreline at the end is, it's kind of a narrative. We're about to talk about a player who continues. I would say he started off very hot this season. He had a little bit of a lull, maybe a little less effective, or maybe carrying some injuries. And he's currently carrying an injury right now. I think if you were to ask anyone around the team, but he doesn't seem to care right now. And his skill set is something that the team needs. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this kid.
Yeah, let's talk about it. And again, I think very, very big frustration for me in this game was how long Wayne Rooney waited to make
81st minute triple sub.
It was very, very clear by whether it was Nashville pushing back. I mean, obviously at that point you knew Nashville was just trying to just shepherd off this game for a win, for a draw, or sorry, shepherd this game off and try not to lose. Basically was their whole thing. And I thought I was like, at that point at the 73rd minute, I think as Ted said, Ted told Wayne he had 15 minutes to give, but basically it wasn't until the 81st minute that he made the subs. I thought that was a mistake. And I think that could have very well cost this team an opportunity to maybe win this. That 7 minutes where because as soon as you brought on Dahome, as soon as you brought on Christian Fletcher, as soon as you brought on Ted Kudu-Pietro, DC was finally able to get some other guys in there who maybe had some other ideas about how to break this team down. And some guys maybe willing to beat some guys on the dribble, to be a little more technical on the ball, to really sort of, get those opportunities, and chances started to turn. And the chances did eventually turn late in the game. I can't remember the exact minute, but, Christian Fletcher, Lewis O'Brien receives the ball, Nashville's pushed back. Christian Fletcher suddenly has a whole bunch of space, attacks the ball. I think Nashville were maybe a little surprised there. And then he picks up his head, takes a look, and Ted Kudu-Pietro is sitting right there at sort of the near the penalty spot, slots it over to him, and he just rivals it home. The only shot on goal the team had all game. Durkin's was certainly a rip and certainly something worthy, but it's not a shot on goal because it hits the post. So the only shot of the goal of the game, they tied up 1-1. And I think I remember being disappointed because I always get disappointed when we draw home games. I don't care who we're playing. Like, I feel like you got to go out and win your home games. But I think, with reflection, considering the injuries, considering the players that weren't there, it shows this team has a gutsy performance. Teku DiPietro sort of has basically won us 4 points as a young player, which is pretty incredible to think about, for a player who I'm not sure we thought we would see this much out of him this year. So
Nope.
he's been a welcome surprise. So good for him. He now gets, I think, a bit of an extended opportunity here to maybe elevate himself to a point where maybe you're thinking as DC United, maybe what else can we maybe use a designated player spot for? Can we maybe rely? And maybe you're not thinking this year, maybe you're not thinking the year after, but you look at a player. I'm sure there are a lot of fans out there that would not be sad to see Taxi Funtas go, all things considered. Maybe this, if Teku DiPietro continues to perform and continues to play well and show that skill set that can sort of match with Benteke better than Taxi Funtas, maybe you as a team entering next year think, well, we have Benteke, we have Click, who are playing really well, who link up very well. Maybe we can find another piece here that can maybe give us a different look. I don't know. Just some thoughts.
I would like to keep both Taxi and Ted. I think it's so wild to have, the rare luck is that you got a player that is a difference maker for like $50,000 on the salary cap, whatever he's making. So you got to, from a money ball perspective, you got to really take advantage of that and have, count your lucky stars. Lewis O'Brien continues to be my concern about losing him. I'm looking here at the stats. Lewis O'Brien led the team with 14 final third entry, 19 passes into the final thirds. Once again, goes 90 minutes. He's gone. We've you and I have processed that. We've moved to we are in the acceptance stage. We passed bargaining, all those other things. Or we talked about maybe if Nottingham gets relegated, it's good. We're now in acceptance, but if you talk about impact players and if we're throwing away DP slots, I would be like, Taxi, thank you for your service. Your body's starting to break down a little bit. Lewis O'Brien, how much money will it take? What kind of Brinks truck would you like? You could be, do you want a coffee shop on the side of the stadium? We could do that. We offered that before. We can make it happen for you.
I think you as a team, it's if you cannot convince Lewis O'Brien to stay, you almost have to be thinking about who can we bring.
Where's a clone? Wwhere's a Lewis O'Brien clone that we can?
Where's a similar type of player that can handle that type of entry, the sort of final third entries? I think really it sets up this team very interesting, for a very interesting moment. I mean, the question is, what do they have? What do they have on the salary cap? Are they at that salary cap? I don't know.
Which is another thing we should talk about. They dropped those numbers. We have first half 2023 salary numbers, and Ravel Morris is showing as a 0.
Yeah,
meaning that I believe that I think that means that they have written off his contract.
Interesting. I don't know. See, that's the very curious thing I thought about Ravel Morrison is, are we has anyone confirmed? Has anyone at MLS? This is the problem with MLS. I wish they would be more open about this. If you have a player on your contract and you say, you know what, we really don't want to exercise our buyout, but we're really not interested in using this guy, so we're just going to not register him. And does that mean that you can actually, he's not playing, you can't play him. I don't know if MLS has any type of rules, like you can't play him in any sort of league matches, so you're not getting any of that salary on the field. Does it really make sense that it should count against your cap? I don't know. When they signed Emil Assad, or maybe that contract began in January, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure he was around the organization. He just wasn't registered at the time. I don't know. It kind of makes me wonder, whether maybe there's a part of this rule. Maybe all that cap that we thought was being eaten up by Ravel Morrison was actually not being eaten up because they did not register him. And maybe once,
Maybe.
yeah, I don't know.
So you're thinking maybe he's getting paid, but it's not counting towards the salary cap?
Yeah, maybe
He's got a contract.
Yeah, he's got a contract. Maybe they're just paying him out. Maybe they've executed that buyout, but they just haven't released it yet. Maybe there's something else going on. Maybe there's some sort of mutual termination. I don't know at this point. I feel like if there was a buyout, maybe we would hear about it. But maybe, yeah, there's some weird stuff going on with that.
I just want to say, so I have Lewis O'Brien's FB ref page up. He's 89th percentile non-penalty goals, 80th percentile assists, 95% progressive carries, 89% successful take-ons, 93% interceptions. The man has got green all over the place, except for clearances and pass completion. And if you look at similar players, these are not players that are known and expensive, one assumes. Josh Laurent at Stoke City, Bruno Gomez in Brazil, Bristol City player, a player in Portugal. Aiden Morris is the only one I would have known on here, Columbus Crew. So, listen, where's the spreadsheets, folks? Sean Howe, get on the horn, play some Football Manager, figure out who is like Lewis O'Brien but is not expensive, and make it happen, because we need this.
I mean, you have to think that has to be like a target for this team.
It has to be.
To find somebody that can, at least they think, can do most of the role that Lewis O'Brien can fill. Or I think you do have to ask, maybe you do make that play where you're like, okay, like, we can't do the roster rules. We can't afford him. Maybe make that play. Do you want to stay? And, maybe then on backup have that, do you want to stay for at least this season? I mean, we're riding high, maybe see how the season plays out. You're going to get, guaranteed starting minutes.
You apparently like driving in the DC area, so you like you have some sort of weird thing with your brain where it's fun to drive in this traffic.
Yeah.
Mateus Click talked about how much he liked the giant parking spots here. So these are things, we talked about the advantages DC might have against other locations. This is the good thing that the training centers in suburbia, they get to they're like, you want a Chipotle with giant parking spots and nobody around it? We got that. If you want to drive fast on a road, we got that. We got all those things you can do.
Yeah, but we got away a little bit from talking about the homegrowns. I did want to come back and touch on that. I mean, having guys, and we'll talk about Ted in the next game, who I thought really just put on a monster performance. But having Christian Fletcher come on, I've been talking with a lot of fans, people like, oh, we're still very, like, I'm concerned about our depth. And I'm like, guys, we're seeing the depth right now. We're seeing Ted Pietro, Christian Fletcher. We're seeing Derek Williams, who's stepping in for Steve Birnbaum and has looked great. I thought he was excellent, like probably underrated performance from him. He's part of that defensive performance against Philly. So in my opinion, we're seeing that depth, and now like we're scraping a little bit more in that barrel. So we're certainly getting close. We're having, instead of having, Ted Pietro off the bench as a game changer, we're having Emil Assad off the bench. Emil Assad is not great. Dahomey so far has not been great.
Not impressed.
So certainly we're eking towards that depth. The hope is that maybe you don't keep everybody as healthy as you can right now. Don't lose anybody else, and then slowly you'll gain back some more of those players and some more of those options, and then those players that have still been performing well become that depth that is starting quality, and you can sort of build that up. I think this is, honestly, if we want to talk depth, I think this is the deepest this team has been in a long, long time. When you factor in all the players that have come in that have made impactful performances, particularly on the homegrown side between Jacob Green, Akambone, Ted Pietro, and now Christian Fletcher picks up an assist. Like, those are types of things that good MLS teams, and something that DC has missed for so long. So I am over the moon with seeing that. You talk about things that make me feel, when Wayne Rooney walks out that door, things that make me feel positive about the team. It's seeing things like this. So yeah, I think that's going to put a book on the Nashville 1-1 draw. Let's get to the Philly game. They go on a Wednesday match against Philly. Christian Benteke returns to the lineup, and you can instantly see why he is probably one of the better attackers in the league right now. Just what so amazes me is just his ability to receive the ball with his back to goal, pick up his head, and just play these just inch perfect, like, switching passes that other MLS, I don't think there's so many. I mean, I've seen other DC players try that, but the way he's able to just do it with such accuracy into the space is it's just next level type elite stuff from him. Besides the elite aerial play, the hold up play, the way he's able to find those passes, find those switches, is pretty incredible. And he was definitely missing this game. Where do you want to start with this Philly draw? Anywhere you want to start with this
I
game?
think the important thing to do is think about the recent history.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
7-0, 6-0. One of those was Wayne in charge for both of those, or one of those. He was in the stands for the first one, I think, and then he.
No, the first one was the day after.
That was the Chad Ashton death game.
Yeah, that was the game where they literally were like, "Nope, now we need to come up with something else. We need to make a change here." Yeah, it was the Chad Ashton death. It was when I think even Chad Ashton, if you had asked him, knew that like it was over. It was done.
So this is a game against a team that had pasted the living bejesus out of DC United last year. This is in a place where DC United is almost never successful. Always seems to take it on the chin. And this is a team that is short one of its impact players. And you roll up there. Benteke was a question mark all week. He happened to be in the lineup. A question we have, Ted is throwing up the quote fingers there. It's entirely possible that was shenanigans.
Oh, I'm 100% convinced that was totally just. I don't know if Wayne told, oh yeah, we're not sure about Benteke. That was total roster mind games being played there, because I think he impacts how you prepare for this team.
Yeah. So I think the fact that expectations had to be low going into this game are a good sort of scene setter for how the game actually went, and sort of I don't want to say complete control that DC United had over Philly, but the stranglehold that DC United have over Philly's attack, I think, is extremely exciting from a DC United fan's perspective after the way things have gone in the recent months and years.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a game at home. Philly are a very, very good team. They're trying to get a bounce back. They're trying to sort of shake off the CONCACAF blues, that they went through. They played a very tough game against Colorado. They walked away 2-1 winners on the road. They came home. They had a scuffle that led to some fines. I think there was one player that was suspended. I can't think of his name right now. They also have some guys missing for the U20 World Cup. So they were not 100%, but they still had, some incredible quality out there. And I don't want to call it. Yeah, I think you're right to call it. If DC walks away 2-0 winners, then you can call it domination. You can't necessarily call it domination when you don't win the game. But it was as close as they could.
Neither did they, though. Yeah. Neither did they.
No, I mean, it was, and you look at the expected goals, you look at the opportunities, it all came from DC. If you go look at I think I put up a picture on our Twitter account of like the Foot Mob shot graph, and in the amount of, and really what was more impressive about this game, it wasn't that I kind of went in this game thinking, I think we'll be good defensively. The real question is going to be, can we actually turn around and generate some chances? And, I was like, I want to see what, Ted Kudu-Pietro can do. And Ted Kudu-Pietro did everything in this game but put the ball in the back of the net. Just his dribbling ability, and it's so fun to watch him. He has become almost a player now. When he has the ball at his feet, you sort of pick your head up and pay attention, because he is showing an ability to beat guys on the dribble, to move around players, to make those little subtle moves that you see, and kind of weave through defenses. And it's still not. I won't say it's like elite or world class at this point. It's kind of like at a very good MLS level. I would kind of place it there. He's still I think maybe getting that sort of final touch that gets him into space, that opens up opportunities and shots. He should have had a goal. I think he had a 0.7 XG chance right there at the end. I think it was a cross from Samake, I want to say, or that kind of bounced to him, or was it Benteke? I know it was on the left side. I believe it was Benteke who kind of left it for him, and it was sort of right at the top of the box, and makes a. I think we look back and say, could he have done more with that? Maybe, but I think he puts it hard and low. Really kind of had to first time it. Didn't really have a time. If he tried to set up a shot, I don't think he gets anything off, and I think it gets blocked. But really, I mean, DC they were just all over like Philly. They generated the most chances. They had the best opportunities. It's just a shame they couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. And I think the team was frustrated by that as well.
And in a hard dribbling, that's what I would call Ted Kudu-Pietro's skill right now. That's the tier that he's at. He's a young Andy dribbling right now. Yeah. And that's good enough. That's pretty damn great for where he was last year.
Yeah, I mean, considering he's been, I mean, we talked earlier, he's been the real surprise this year, I think, and just how we saw the preseason results and we're kind of like, oh, maybe this is the year Ted makes the big jump or the big step. And then we're kind of like, well, maybe, and then he, just completely just blows it out of the water in the first game. And we're thinking, oh my gosh, we got the next coming of Kevin Paredes right in front of us right now. I do have a question because I got into a little bit of a discussion on Twitter. I think everybody's in their head about, he's 20 years old, 21 years old. I think so. He's still, he's considered no longer a young player by most international standards. He'll probably make the 22 under 22. Which I think
which is a death curse for DC United players. You don't want to make that.
But he is on that. He is certainly in that ability. Right now, his contract situation is this is the last year of his contract. He's got options for 24, 25. What sort of prospects do you think? If you're talking, do you think with Rage, do you see Bill Hamid level? Just not quite good enough to really make a big step internationally, or it never quite comes, or just, there's just too many holes in his game? Or do you see a guy who, maybe, I don't think, Chelsea, Real Madrid, or Barcelona are going to come sniffing, but like maybe a Coventry City, a Luton Town, those types of championship level clubs.
No, I don't see him like that yet. Honestly, same story for me for, a lack of final product is going to hurt him a little bit because of his age. I think Kevin got the call to go to Germany because he was still sub 18 and featuring almost every game and going 90 for an MLS club. At 21, Ted is going to have to. The final product is going to have to be done for him to get. So Chelsea for certain not. Obviously, I didn't even suggest that. Championship side maybe, but I think he's got to start. To make that jump as an American, you've got to do it young. He's right at that cusp, like Daryl DK age. Final product's got to be there. I think if his ceiling is very good MLS player, I think that's fine. I think he's got to be happy with that, and I think that the club would be even happy with that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see him yet as an international player due to his age.
I think at this point, if I am Dave Casper and I am looking at those option years, we have those option years as kind of if we can't get anything to read to, let's do it. But I think I'm calling up his agent and I'm saying, let's work out a deal to keep you here. We're seeing the growth. We want to reward you now because you're starting to make impacts on the field. We think you can be somebody who can be a starting contributor over the next couple seasons, which I certainly think he has the ability to do so. I see him really. I think he shows enough of the vision, the dribbling ability. Really, I think he could potentially, if DC ever shifts to kind of a more, we talk about how MLS is still a league of number 10s. I think he has that ability to be a number 10. I think he has that creative ability, if he can grow that, to be a pretty good number 10 in this league, or at very least a sort of withdrawn forward, sort of the Jaime Moreno role of sort of that withdrawn forward in Jaime's later part of his career, not the beginning of his career, but. I think if you're Dave, I think you go and you look and you say, hey, let's work out a 3-year deal. Let's keep you here. We're going to give you a little bit. We're going to give you an increase to what your option is. So you're not getting nothing out of this. Then we'll extend. We'll have MLS contracts all have options, but let's look at maybe keeping you here next 3, 4, 5 years. That puts you right around 24, 25. If you are playing at an elite MLS level, you are, making chances, scoring goals, then absolutely he could make that jump to Europe. Sure. 24, 25, he absolutely could. I think he's got to grow. I think he's got to be better. I'm not really willing to count out anything because I see every single game, he just keeps adding elements to his game. And what I saw with Kevin, I see a lot of in Ted Kudu-Pietro right now. It's a guy who every single time he steps on the field, there's maybe a little something else I see that's like, ooh, that's something he wasn't doing last game. That looks good. Ooh, that's something new. And in this game, just the dribbling ability, I think, was really on display against a team that's also really, really good. So I'm excited about this game against LA because LA are really bad. So I'm hopeful for a breakout game from him. Let's just say that. I'm hopeful for a 2 or 3 goal, 1 to 2 goals, couple assists type of game.
Ted, we got to do the Ted contract needs to be like Chelsea contracts, where they're just throwing 9-year deals at players to counteract to the roster rules.
I don't know if I'm Ted. I signed that deal. I would definitely sign a 3-year deal with maybe another 1 to 2 year option where that gives you the security. You're probably making some more money. Then that gives you the security knowing that you are going to be with this team now for, the next 3, 4, 5 years. You can grow with this team. You're still 24, 25 by the time that contract starts to run out. And it still gives incentive if you're there for DC to sell you to Europe. Because he's got to be thinking also, every player wants to get to Europe. So
Did you say he's got 1 year left as an option? That's it?
2 years. 24,
Okay.
2024, 25. So DC could absolutely go in and say, hey, we're just going to give you the option. They might do that. But I think if I am Dave and I'm thinking long term, I am thinking, let's go ahead and get this locked down. Let's not even worry about that option. You're good enough. We've seen it. Let's keep you here for as long as we can.
Isn't it wild that he's still the general manager after everything that was the pitchforks and the flames have just sort of like, everyone's like, let's just put him over on the side right now, man. I got no energy. I got no more energy for Firecasper stuff.
I mean,
right now.
I mean, shoot. I mean, now you almost kind of got to be like, well, I mean, he didn't really do too terrible this offseason. I mean, I would say with Muhammad Jazzy, I mean, I would say the jury is kind of still out.
Quite literally, Ted.
Yeah, quite literally. I mean, I'm not really, a lot of people I think are right. I think Muhammad Jazzy made the underperforming, the underperforming contract along with
underperforming under indictment contract list.
Yeah, but I mean, Matthias Klick has been good.
Yep.
Obviously Benteke has come around and been sort of that elite level player that we thought he could be. You look at Derek Williams, who I think a lot of people were writing off after his time in LA. Isn't it nice to bring in a player who plays well after, like, we're getting like the reverse of what we usually get?
It is.
Because he's been excellent. He was so good in this game against Philly. He made a couple tackles where things could have gotten bad, almost to the point where I'm wondering, like, when Birnbaum comes back, I mean, maybe Paulson finds himself like, I don't know if you bench him at this point.
I thought there was no way that Williams could warrant the contract that he was on, the salary he was paying, but he does.
Yeah,
he does. If he's healthy, if he can stay on the field, he is our best center back, I think, from a consistency perspective.
Yeah, I don't know what you do. I mean, I think it's sort of allowed the team to take it easy with Birnbaum, where they don't feel like they have to rush him back because you still have a core. I think maybe they do want him back, but with the way that sort of 3-back line plays, there's not really a whole lot of running that has to go on there. So really it's just being sort of solid defensively, I don't know what happens when Birnbaum comes back. Does Williams go back to the bench? Does Pines go back to the bench? He's played really well. I mean, I don't think he's argued he's really lost his spot. But I mean, I think, I think from a whole, I think you look at what the players he's brought in. I mean, yes, I am still the person. I would love somebody else in there. I think I'd love to see a fresh idea, a fresh face, someone else to do this rebuild. But I can't argue with the fact that the team actually has done, considering how bad some of the off seasons we've had, this one's been pretty good. And we've gotten some good players in. All right. Anything else you want to add to the Philly game? Anything we want?
Andre Blake is a jerk who is Bill Hamid-like in his ability to save his team points when maybe they shouldn't have them.
Yeah, and his unbelievable, his crazy sweeper keeper aspect. He's gotten very lucky, and he got very lucky in this Philly game. I think he had a moment where he came out, but
you're talking about Tyler Miller?
Tyler Miller, yes.
Yeah. So Andre Blake destroyed us with his save ability. Tyler Miller was getting Lewis Creighton out there, and luckily it didn't hurt him.
Yeah. Sorry, I think you broke up a little bit. I thought you were talking about Tyler Miller. But Tyler Miller also made a great save too, I think, in the Philly game as well. So he's proved to be solid. But yes, Andre Blake is elite level when it comes to a Philadelphia Union goalkeeper. All right. I think before we wrap up, maybe let's touch a little bit. We got some breaking news out of MLS. First, I almost forgot to mention. Have you seen the 2026 World Cup logo? Yeah,
it's very. I could have made that, and I'm not very good at Adobe Express, but I probably could have done it.
I think the worst part about it is it. So I think I saw a video where it's like they put the World Cup trophy like inside the logo, and like that. Like I just don't know where somebody got the idea that it looked good. It looks very cheap. And it was clear that somebody was like, well, let's do something different. Because usually the logo is do something artsy, but like make the make the like World Cup trophy into like some sort of artsy. And also it's been hilarious to watch the amount of like better logo designs that have come out since then. I think they were trying. I think someone maybe saw like the MLS logo and was like, well, let's do something like minimalist, and then like the city logos can fill it in. The problem is that even those were not good. They were actually pretty terrible, to be honest. So I don't know who they hired to do that logo, but it's bad. It's awful. It's terrible. I think just having the actual picture of the trophy inside the logo just makes it look even more awkward.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. You're mixing themes. You're mixing a whole bunch of stuff with that. Thumbs down. Do not like.
Thumbs down. But in other news, positive, I guess, depending on if your name isn't Landon Donovan or the San Diego Loyal owners. San Diego now has an MLS team, not affiliated with the USL team. They are being very, very gritting teeth and being very nice and saying welcome. But even they have to be sweating a little bit, considering this is, I think this is something that's it's quite interesting, because I believe, if I recall correctly, that Landon Donovan was part of an effort to try to bring in a San Diego MLS team.
He was.
And then they kind of missed the boat on sort of getting that team set up and sort of through the, I think, teams like Miami and Cincinnati and St. Louis kind of beat them out basically to that punch. And so they said, all right, fine, we're going to go the USL route, which I think at the time they founded the team, they thought, well, here's our path to MLS. It is a little confusing. I don't want to debate the egos of like billionaires and like starting teams, but it seems to me that if I was someone who was wanting to start a team and there was already a team that had established brand, established loyalty, I would at the very least reach out and be like, hey, I'll be the big money. They want to bring a team to San Diego. I'll be the big money guy. You guys already have the infrastructure set up. You already got the team. You've got the coach. You've got Landon Donovan as an owner, who's a legendary U.S. soccer owner. Why not just like partner with them and finally push this into MLS? I don't understand, I guess, the mindset behind it. They want to do their own like San Diego FC thing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the Loyal will survive. We'll see.
I don't think they will. I think this is a Miami. Well, in a best case scenario, you've got a Miami FC situation. In a worst case scenario, you have numerous other clubs that have folded. Austin Aztecs. There's a long list of what happens when the big ship comes to town. Well, to your point, they could have pulled the Minnesota United. They could have. The Wolves could have bought like a previously functioning USL side and done that. But I think. Yeah, I think loyal fans are going to have to figure out if they are actually what their name is, because I think that team's going away, and they're going to find out that they're going to be new fans of San Diego FC Soccer Club of California, or whatever they're going to call it.
Yeah, and we've got, of course, they'll be playing at Snapdragon Stadium, where the San Diego Wave is. All I got to say is that I think that the rumor is the name will be FC San Diego or San Diego FC. Can we please get something more in? I guess that's where like the San Diego Loyal has a objectively cool name and a cool logo. I guess I just wish things would be a little bit better. I wish they wouldn't have that, but they will be playing at Snapdragon Stadium. Apparently, from what I've been told, like the team is actually going to invest in building a roof to cover fans in that game. One of the criticisms of Snapdragon Stadium is apparently there's no cover, and San Diego apparently gets really hot in San Diego. I don't know. I've never been.
That is malarkey. It is like 72 degrees all the time. It is the most perfect thing in the entire. Maybe in the middle of the day it gets a little sunny. Californians are notorious for complaining about good weather and acting like it's bad weather. So they can chill. Get on the Twitter and tell me I'm an idiot. But I've been to San Diego enough times where I think that's malarkey. Anyway, they did a good thing in San Diego. I hope that they figure out a way to maybe incorporate some of those elements in. If not, they can join Sacramento Republic in the never MLS California division of the USL and just stay there. Just do both.
Well, Sacramento's another story. I wonder where this leaves them. I wonder where this leaves Vegas, especially too. All right, folks. I think that's going to do it for this episode of United 96. John, is there anything else you wanted to add, or? Can we go ahead and
No, we are. We are fighting through bad internet right now, where both of us are probably dropping out on each other's ears. So the fact that we were able to get 50 minutes in, I'm happy about it. But we will be back to our normal production schedule next week. I don't have any more large scale advocacy fly-ins where I need to be in DC for 12 hours a day, and we'll be back to our 2 episodes for our Patreon schedule next week as well.
Yep. All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening. We will catch you guys next week. Vamos.
Vamos. Thanks again to our show sponsor, Mundy Development, available to help you with all of your real estate needs. To get started on your next real estate investment, visit mundydev.com. That's MUNDYDEV.com.